Yo, what's up guys, BY Gaming here, and in today's video I basically wanted to take a quick look at Sigrid Fort, which is of course a leaked bounty hunt monster in Monster Legends. So before we get into that, please remember to leave a like on the video to show your support because I'd really appreciate it. Now, that being said, let's take a look at what we got going on here. First, with the design, it looks like some wizard monster with a spiritual warrior behind it or something like that. It looks really awesome. I can't wait to see the adult design, of course, as well, because I do believe this is the baby design, but it's a purple wizard with a staff, so I do believe it may have a staff relic, and considering that this monster has a, spiritual monster with a sword behind it, it might have a sword as well. Not really sure, but again, you can't see any of this stuff down below, so we're going to have to wait and find out. Same thing with power, life, and speed. We don't know what this monster is capable of in terms of those stats, but we're going to find out pretty soon as well. And it is going to be up-to-date stats, of course, from the Metropolitan era, so it's going to have higher base stats than all the Corrupteds, I'm to assume. So that is something to look forward to as well. Now, taking a look at the overview briefly, we do know one thing about it, which is that it does have a immune to control trait, which is pretty amazing. That means you can't be hit by baby reversion, freeze, stun, a bunch of stuff, right? So that is a really good trait to have. That's definitely one thing to note here about this monster. So it has immune to control. That's really nice. Now, taking a look at the leaked moveset, this is where things get pretty interesting. I did take a look at this briefly, so let's go over it. Alright, so we have Bulky Warrior, which does moderate physical damage, and of course has no cooldown. So this is a pretty cool move to see. It is a spammable moderate physical damage move. Next thing we have is Little Wizard, which curses the enemy, and this is going to be a single target attack, of course, and also has no cooldown. So yeah, Curse is pretty useful. You can spam this. So Curse obviously takes away HP and stamina for those of you who do not know, and it actually increases as turns go on. That's pretty nice. Next we have Back to Original, which does self-positive effect removal plus negative effect removal plus life regeneration. So when I saw this, I thought, ooh, this is a pretty weird move. But I guess it's not the worst thing because, yeah, taking off positive effects from yourself is not exactly the best thing that I, would be interested in seeing here. But if you don't have any positive effects, of course, getting rid of negative effects is a good move as well, right? I mean, obviously you want to cleanse off anything negative, which can potentially save you. For example, sudden death countdown, you can take that off. Any, dots and stuff like that, you can also cleanse that off yourself. And you get life regeneration after this. So you basically just take off everything and reset yourself to a clean slate. So no positive effects or negative effects left on you after you use this move. And then you can go ahead and apply life regeneration to yourself as well. But again, if you do have any kind of self buff, then this takes it off. And I'm not the biggest fan of that. Definitely would have liked to see just like an NER plus life regeneration, but I guess the self PER is just put there to kind of balance things out a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I guess it wasn't really necessary, and I don't really like to see it because if you do have buffs on yourself, then this takes them off. So yeah, that's my verdict on Back to Original. Let's take a look at Spell of Madness next. So this does AoE 2 random negative effects. So this is a pretty good move in my opinion. This really reminds me of Centurion with the negative status effects. So this apparently applies 2 random negative effects to every enemy monster, I believe. So that is quite powerful. Of course, it is going to be random, so you can't rely on it in any specific way. But generally putting 2 random negative effects on all enemies, that's a pretty good move because you could get a number of things, and that is going to come in handy for sure. So Spell of Madness is a pretty good move. Next we have Joint Attack, which does heavy special damage plus Curse. And of course we don't know the stamina or cooldown of any of these moves aside from the first 2, I believe. But yeah, this does heavy special damage, which is going to be good because that is not going to be affected by, weaknesses and things like that. So heavy special damage, that's really nice. Right, special damage, it bypasses all the typing and all that stuff. So yeah, you're going to at least hit for neutral damage. I do believe it's the same for physical damage as well, right? So this monster so far doesn't have any elemental attacks. It just has special and physical damage. All right. And next we have Sigrid's Spell, which does AoE random negative effect plus Curse. So yeah, this again is kind of, I guess reminiscent of Centurion. It has AoE random negative effects, so anything that applies random negative effects, I would say is still pretty good because negative effects, you know, they do range from like moderate to like really, really troublesome. But, you know, obviously this depends on what you get, but it could be a very good move if you get lucky with the negative effects. And so, yeah, I generally like this. It's kind of cool to see like what you're going to get when you use a negative effect, like a random negative effect move. So, yeah, this is kind of fun to use, I guess. And it's also, it can be really good or it could be moderate. So I guess it depends on what negative effect you end up getting. But the curse is guaranteed. So that's always good to see. Drains health and it drains stamina. So that's nice. Next, we have Laceration. So this does moderate physical damage and then AoE moderate physical damage. So it really reminds me of the Ghost, which was a move on Ingui, right? One of the previous fugitive killers. So yeah, moderate physical damage plus AoE moderate physical damage. I would have said, oh, slap on a Dispelling Fist, but I forgot that we are not in the corrupted era anymore. So obviously it's going to have to be some street talent or something like that instead. But yeah, pretty cool. Moderate physical damage plus AoE moderate physical damage. All right, so it hits one enemy, then it hits all enemies with moderate physical damage. And again, this is only physical damage, right? So far we only have physical and special damage. No elemental moves whatsoever. So that is pretty interesting. Next, we have Fort's Sword, which does massive physical damage. And again, this has an unknown stamina and cooldown cost. But yeah, massive physical damage. So that is cool to see. It's a massive damaging move. So that is obviously going to be very powerful. But yeah, again, it's a physical move. So we have absolutely no, and I think that was the end of all of the leaked moves, aside from the special, which we will go over in just a moment. But apparently, this monster has no elemental moves, only physical and special moves, which is pretty interesting, right? I don't know how many other monsters are like that, but apparently, yeah, this guy has no elemental moves whatsoever. Now, finally, we have Fort Spellbound, which is its special. So this applies self-double damage and then does AoE very heavy special damage. So again, no element, but this is a pretty good special. It, you know, goes for the buff first, and then it hits everybody for very heavy special damage. Would have liked to see something like massive special damage, but yeah, I mean, apparently I guess that would be too powerful because it already does apply a self-double damage. And this is a pretty good special because it applies the double damage boost and then goes for the attack immediately, so you automatically get off the double damage, right? But again, this is a special, which means that you cannot really rely on it. It will pop up whenever it pops up, and I have noticed that I've been getting specials more often, so I'm not really sure. Did they change the special rate from 3% and increase it or something like that? I'm not really sure, so please go ahead and leave a comment down below if you know what's going on with specials, but I seem to be getting them more often than I usually did. So did they do something with the special spawn rate or something like that? I'm not really sure. But assuming they did, maybe specials would be slightly more relevant, but if it's still 3%, I would say that Fort Spellbound as a special, I wouldn't really even pay attention to it because it's very unlikely that you'll randomly get it in the middle of a fight. So I would definitely be more concerned with the main moveset because that is actually something that you can control. Okay, so that is going to be pretty much it. A number of things stand out to me about this monster. Number one, the design looks really awesome. I mean, I know that doesn't really have anything to do with anything, but it has a really awesome design. Can't wait to see the adult form. Another thing that sticks out to me is that this is going to be a free to obtain monster for everybody because it is the free bounty hunt monster. So while I'm sure we will see another fugitive killer, the fact is that this guy, who is a very good monster, is going to be free. So, and he's going to be pretty easy to get, assuming that the bounty hunt has remained unchanged, right? Because the last few bounty hunts, it's been really, really easy to get the monster, even without spending any kind of, even without spending gems in most cases, right? So yeah, I mean, getting his first 100 cells and crafting him should be pretty darn easy, so definitely go ahead and do that once this monster gets released. And I guess finally the last thing that I noticed about this monster, aside from it having really great, a great trait, I don't know what the other traits are, but it does have immune to control. That's nice. Aside from that though, I will say that the most interesting thing I noticed about this monster is the fact that it only has physical and special damaging moves. It actually does not have any kind of element attached to it, so that is pretty darn interesting, I will say. So that is pretty cool because it can always do at least neutral damage, right? So that's pretty awesome. And so yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for this video, guys. I think that Sigrid Fort is a pretty interesting monster, and I can't wait to get him myself. So what do you guys think of this monster? Please leave a comment down in the comment section below telling me that. And yeah, don't forget to like the video as well. I mentioned that at the beginning of the video. That can help get this video out to more people. And that's going to be it for me, guys. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.